Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cooking with Big Mark. Today, rice.
Good day, folks. Today we're going to talk about risotto, not the old famous Italian New York Yankee shortstop, but the famous classic Italian dish, which a lot of people think is very complicated, but it really isn't. It's really very simple dish once you learn the technique. You have to follow certain principles, but once get those, and it's a comforting way to cook. It becomes a very easy dish to replicate whenever you want. The main thing, of course, is the rice. For this type of special rice, it's a short grain superfino rice called abrorio, and originated from the town of Apuria in the Piedmont section of Italy. And it's probably grown all over the place now. Once those things come out, they do it. But it's a short grain rice, has a lot of starch. And the big thing you've got to learn about this rice is don't rinse it. Mostly all the other rices, you'll especially the long grain ones, they'll say, rinse in cold water to get out pebbles, sticks, or whatever else. But this you don't want. What they're doing is wiping off the starch, and you want the starch. There are other things you can use this method with. Farro, you can do it with pearl barley. You can do it with steel cut oats. And of course, the famous Japanese sushi rice, which has the same quality again of sticking together. So that's when stays together when you do your California rolls and stuff. The other Italian rice is a Carnaroli rice, which you can do that as well. But they call it the king of rice, but it's pretty expensive, so it's not commonly done. So what's our basic step in rice in this? So we don't rinse it. And whatever stock you're going to use, the ratio of liquid to rice is about 3 to 1. And what you want to do is have whatever liquid is that you're going to use, whether it's a soup and stock mix left over from braised gravy, whatever. You mix together, it could be water, is you want to have that hot to the touch. You heat it up in a pot next to your pot where you're going to do the stirring. And that should be hot to the touch because it speeds up the process rather than going in ice cold. First thing you do is put in, aromatics of type of things that you want to do: onion saute, leeks, any kind of small oniony type things, scallions, whatever you want to get some flavor out of. Saute those just to release the flavors. Then you put in well, you've done that in oil and butter. Then you add the rice. You want to coat each little grain with the fat, and that's how it sort of cooks. And at this point in time, if you're going to be using wine, this is where you would add the wine. Most often it'd be white wine, but if the braise that you're using from a braise of beef or pork or lamb or something, those sauces or the leftover gravies, then by all means use red wine. That's fine. You can do it. Either one is fine. Then you come in, you start adding your liquid, ladle by ladle, or half cup by half cup. And as the rice absorbs it, you can tell it gets a little bit, you don't see any loose liquid. That's when you add it on again. You want to be sure your pan has a thick bottom. It has to be a good, substantial pan, otherwise it'll burn. You want to spread the heat evenly. And I have a wooden paddle I use, which has got about a 4-inch base on it. I use that to scrape the bottom. And you just go through it. It takes about anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. And you have to constantly stir. But for some people, especially if you're coming home from a busy day somewhere, it's kind of self-satisfying to sit there and relaxing. You just stir, you get yourself a drink, maybe a glass of wine, and just sit there and stir for a half hour or something. It's kind of fun. Bring it down at the end when most of the liquid has been absorbed. That's when I come up and I call the palette of risotto. It's like an artist palette at this point where they mix their paints and everything. You can do anything you want to mix in with risotto. It can be just a straight risotto as is to accompany a meat dish with a little bit of cheese, garlic, let's say. It can be, sometimes they call it the Italian mac and cheese. If it's mostly cheese in there, you add a lot of extra cheeses to it too. It comes like a mac and cheese. But the one I did last night, for example, was with leeks, mushrooms, and small scallops. Now I sauteed the leeks and the mushrooms until the mushroom gave up its flavor, its liquid rather. Then I put the scallops in only for a second because I just wanted to coat them with the heat. Then took that stuff and put it in a bowl off the side in the same pan. Then I went back with some more butter, some onions, then started the whole process that we just talked about. Other things you can do, we talked about mussels last week. That's another great thing to do risotto with. You just take it, you get your liquid, you take the meats out of the shells and separate them. Then you use that liquid that's your base again. And a combination, the mussels are great pieces of meat being there. It can be mixed with corn or little grape tomatoes or dill. Another combination, the risottos could be like with spinach and feta, give it a little Greek flavor. And it's just, again, it's the palate, anything you want, the flavors, the meats, and do it. So that's really sort of the whole, to talk about the risotto and the different things you can do. Hopefully this palate of your culinary palate will titillate your mouth palate, which of course is your mouth receptor. That's the second use of the word palate. Then we come up to the end. If you've done a real good job and you want to relax afterwards, you can go up and lay down on the third use of the word palate, which is the bed. So palate's has a lot of things. So, but you can relax after having had a very palatable experience and a pleasant evening. So that's risotto. And if you have any left, just take it, roll it up in something, cool it, add some egg or beaten egg to it, and you bread it like you would chicken fingers, and you get arancini, the famous Italian arancini. That's where it comes from. The same rice, the same thing, usually from leftover risottos.
Very cool. All right. Well, thinking about lighter style risottos to meet the richness of the dish and both complement it and heighten it with some acidity, we have the Babich Sauvignon Blanc. This is from Marlborough, although I think they get grapes from all over the two islands. It's fairly large production, but this is a very nice everyday wine.
It's from where, Mark?
Marlborough, New Zealand.
New Zealand, okay.
So it's about 13% alcohol, so it's got some body to it, which will complement the body of your risotto. And interesting note, we were talking about acidity and alkalinity. The waters we were tasting were somewhere in the 6.5 to 9% on the alkalinity pH scale, and this is like a 3.2. So this is pretty acidic, and it's going to pick up those flavors. So you're getting some nice sort of typical notes. One descriptor, which sounds gross, but really is quite on the nose, is cat pee, which I'm certainly getting in the nose here.
I can't think that would enhance my yearning to drink it.
Yeah, I know if you have cats, you can enjoy that sensation for free. But this is very creamy. You're getting the weight from the alcohol. Definitely some nice pineapple acidity, some nice just general tropical creaminess, kiwi, mango. Kind of decadent and quite neat for the occasion with risotto. So this has been Cooking with Big Mark. If you want to contribute to the Cooking with Big Mark cookbook, send me your email. And if you enjoy the show, tell your friends. And you all have a great day. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.